I'm so happy. I bought this amazing castle. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. In town, the streetlights were already on. Several businesses already closed. But I didn't care. I knew we had to be close. We were already near David's auto shop and a couple of familiar laundromats. Me and Tyler's neck of the woods. Like a timekeeper, Brady's scowl stayed on his phone. On Google Maps. Take a left at the light. He barked. I turned left on yellow. And I realized we were on Sheila Street. Right near our ratchet communal playground. We were in French Town. And like a conjoined twin, the omnipresent van remained close behind. Keeping its usual distance. And matching our speed. The Corolla's low fuel light began beeping. Incessant, irritating beeps. Keep driving. Brady yelled. Anxious, Tyler looked out the windows. He saw what I saw. We were now in darkness. Surrounded by night. Go, man. Tyler pleaded. I could feel the Corolla lose control. Losing life. Like a horse giving way to dehydration, the car began to sputter. The blinking yellow light kept flickering. Its beeps formed a maddening soundtrack. Through the frenzy, I scanned the neighborhood. I recognized these houses. I passed by them every day. Not even the dark could hide their hideous appearance. The moldy homes, the cluttered yards, the eyesore cars, the decrepit duplexes. Yeah, this was French Town. Come on. I heard a panicking Tyler yell. The car slowed to a crawl. The van behind us did the same. Up in the sky, the full moon beamed down on me like an unforgiving spotlight. Brady pointed to the left. Pull in over there. I looked over and saw a narrow alleyway. Tucked in between an abandoned house and ghetto church. Right there? I asked. Yeah, just fucking turn. Brady replied. Turn off the goddamn lights. Making a hard turn, I pulled right into the alley. One quick hit flicked off the headlights. No, Tyler exclaimed. Between deep breaths, he looked up at the sky. I think we made it. Close enough, son, Brady commented. He lowered his phone. Google Maps was no longer on his screen. I killed the engine. With an agonizing groan, the Corolla entered a well-deserved slumber. Deep in my overworked guts, I knew we'd made it on fumes. Shivering, I gazed up at the glowing moon. Even more cold air now drifted into the car. The Corolla no match for this January night. So now what? Tyler asked Brady. In a sudden flourish, Brady retrieved a pistol from his pants pocket. Now this, he said with a smile. Whoa, what the fuck? Tyler yelled. Frightened, I confronted Brady's wide smile. The gun stared back at me with malicious intent. Brady's grip steady even in the cold. You all really thought we weren't gonna take you too? Brady teased. Smirking, he turned. Like an indifferent ship, the van cruised on by. What the hell? Brady cried, unusual panic in his voice. He leaned in closer toward the back window. Nothing but our slums greeted him. What the fuck, Lee? Tyler grabbed my arm. Let's go. He whispered as best he could. Tyler's voice is impossible to be discreet. Just like his personality. Reacting faster than an assassin, Brady aimed the weapon back at us. Stay right there. He yelled. We didn't move a muscle. Trembling, Brady grabbed his phone. What the hell he is doing? Held at gunpoint, all Tyler and I could do was exchange nervous glances. Together, we shivered from the cold and from the dread. Brady's phone buzzed to life. An incoming call. In a frenzy, he answered. "Lee, where the hell is you?" he yelled. Even at his mercy, I could tell Brady wasn't the same confident sociopath he was earlier. Now he was a panicking mad scientist rather than an arrogant one. The fucker was shivering from fear. Sweat even flowed down his face. He no longer held that gun in a confident grip either. He looked fucking scared. "Look, man, don't leave me!" Brady screamed. Full of fear, he turned toward the back window once more. "I'll pay you all off, man, I swear. Tell Hayden I can pay him back." The car shook. A hard shake. Like frantic movement on a shitty rowboat. Only I wasn't so sure it was just from Brady's panic. Behind uneasy eyes, Tyler faced me. "Oh, no. I don't know," I muttered. Brady looked up out the windshield. Up toward a full moon that was glowing like a neon sign. "Oh fuck." Brady yelled into the phone. "You can't fucking do this to me. That wasn't part of the plan, Lee. It was supposed to just be Frenchtown, goddamit." "What the fuck's going on?" Tyler demanded. Angry, Brady put the gun to his face. "Shut the fuck up." His outburst faded to vulnerable horror. "No." Brady yelled into his phone. He lowered the iPhone, his helpless eyes glued to the home screen. Lee had hung up. "Don't leave me out here." Cautious, Tyler reached toward him. "Look, man, I don't know what's going on." More defensive than a pit bull, Brady pointed the gun at us. "Stay back." Tears formed in his eyes. And his whole body was quivering, the trigger finger included. Tyler threw his hands up. "Okay, man. Fuck this. We gotta get out of here." Brady yelled. He reached for the back seat's door handle. "Come on." Like a huge knife, a long hairy arm emerged through the back seat. And like a javelin, it shot right through Brady's chest. Blood shot out all over the Corolla in a messy red paint job. Like the arm was offering us a gift, bits of pulpy intestines clung to the clawed hand. The claws were extended and sharp, the arm's dark hair now coated in crimson. Lurching forward, blood spurted from Brady's mouth. His dying eyes stared right at us. Finally, he let go of the gun. "Oh fuck!" Tyler yelled in terror. Horrified, we both stared at the sight. Brady's weak hands grasped at the muscular arm. Like a tumor, the arm appeared to grow from within his body. By now, blood spewed from Brady like a grisly fountain. Then with sudden quickness, the arm drew itself back. Nothing was now there except the gaping grisly hole in Brady's chest. Grasping at his wound, Brady fell against my headrest. Clumps of wild hair and bits of his intestines scattered throughout my car like vomit. Brady's mouth moved but couldn't utter a word, not through all that blood. Tyler lunged back. "Whoa, fuck." A bellowing howl erupted from within the Corolla. A howl is full of irate anger. A hungry howl, and one that echoed right from the giant hole in my back seat. Right from the trunk. Tyler grabbed my arm. "What the hell's that, man?" Under the moonlight, the monster tore its way through the rest of the back seat. A storm of blood and ripped fabric erupted inside. And there in the trunk, a pair of red eyes stared back at us. Saliva poured from a huge mouth. Fueled by immense force, the werewolf lunged out to kill. One quick swipe from the clawed hand ripped Tyler's face off. His peeled flesh dangled like torn wrapping paper. Tyler's face nothing more than a red smorgasbord. just eyes and exposed muscle. I cried out, horrified. His dying arms flailing about, Tyler fell straight into the back seat. Upon impact, his flayed face got smashed into a pile of mushy goo. Like a hungry child, the werewolf jammed his furry hands into his mouth and savored the taste of my best friend's flesh. Seeing the creature's eyes glow with excitement, I knew the food must have been finger-licking good. Craving more, the monster lunged straight into Brady's dead neck. The werewolf's mammoth teeth ripped out a fucking chunk as if he was tearing into a piece of chicken. And he was such a messy eater. Blood sprayed over my face. But I didn't even flinch. Both the terror and cold petrified me. The werewolf slurped up the stringy flesh. He howled with glee before tearing out another juicy chunk. The fucker had himself a real moonlight dinner. And then the monster focused those eerie red eyes right on me. In a sickening epiphany, I realized this was the body we'd picked up earlier. The man in the bag. I could even still see pieces of black plastic stuck to his bloodied fur. His torn collared shirt and jeans still stuck to the 6-foot creature as well. Sensing my fear, the werewolf lunged right on top of me. My back hit the steering wheel. A brief pathetic horn blared, but I knew it was a noise no one would ever hear. Leaning over me, the excited creature revealed an elongated mouth. Rows and rows of his sharp teeth greeted my horrified eyes. Not to mention his heavy panting dripped saliva all over me. I could feel his thick fur brush against me. The moist blood stick to my skin. And this up close and personal, I could see how fucking sharp those claws really were. His muscles bulging, the werewolf tilted his head back and let out a ferocious howl. A maneuver made to scare me even more than I already was. And it fucking worked. Cowering like a timid soldier, I turned away. Oh, God, I cried. With great force, the werewolf grabbed me by the throat. Behind hungry eyes, he leaned in closer toward my vulnerable face. His claws were ready to sink in. As were the fangs that only seemed to grow longer. Cringing, I closed my eyes and braced for the fatal blow. Holy shit! An obnoxious voice yelled. A booming voice. Startled, me and the werewolf both looked out the back window. A couple of people now stood near the Corolla. All of them my age. All of them high as a kite and dressed like they were rap video rejects, all of them from the Frenchtown gang. What the fuck is that? Another one of the posers screamed. Making my move, I pushed the werewolf back and swung open the door. I knew I'd caught the bitch off guard. But I could still feel a brush of air hit me when his frenetic paw just missed my neck. Like a frustrated young animal, the monster cried out into the night. Fueled by adrenaline, I ran out into the alleyway. The creature's long, shrill howl followed me. Yo, what the fuck's that, man? One of the Frenchtown boys hurled at me. But I didn't stick around. I ran all the way back to the hood. Far away from that goddamn Corolla. Behind me, I heard a disturbing soundtrack. I heard the werewolf's heavy footsteps. His howls. His growls and the terrified yells of all those teens. Not to mention the sounds of a struggle and the eerie sudden silence that blanketed the alley soon after. I didn't turn around until I was in the middle of the street. Back in civilization. I looked back at the alley. And to my rising horror, I realized I wasn't even safe in my own stomping grounds. The alleyway's bloodbath lied before me. My Corolla's exterior matched the interior, all blood and flesh. Not to mention the many scattered severed limbs draped across my car like horrific hood ornaments. Most of the limbs gnawed with brutal precision. About my only solace from the terrifying sight was that the werewolf was gone. He hadn't followed after me. But my triumph was short-lived when I heard that guttural howl erupt throughout French town. Overcome in fear, I looked up at the dark sky. Like a smirking god, the full moon shined bright upon me. In a disturbing soundtrack, I could hear screams surround me. Men, women, children. Lights cut on in every home in a frenetic pattern. The community was in a panic. And the agonizing screams only grew louder and more collective to form a tormented chorus. Tears formed in my eyes. A harsh breeze chilled me to the bone. And my disturbed soul was twisted in knots, so twisted it may as well have been a noose around my neck. No, this wasn't police brutality. Or a drive-by. Or a street brawl. Hayden Hammond had unleashed a monster in my neighborhood. As if the rivalry wasn't lopsided enough, Wilson Green wanted to take us out for good. I and Tyler were the pawns. The monster was Hayden's closer. Somehow, my family and I came out safe during the Frenchtown rampage. Or, at least, that's what the press dubbed it. They blamed the massacre all on gang violence. And there weren't many witnesses alive, to tell the truth. And those that did were just written off as drunks and liars, you know, just your average racist stereotypes. I knew no one would ever believe me either, not even my own parents. I still feel guilty about what happened to Tyler. Without my best friend, I had no one to turn to anymore. No one to enjoy life with again. And after all that horrible violence, I couldn't even face this community again. Not Frenchtown, not Wilson Green, none of it. About the only good thing to come out of the tragedy was that I managed to turn my life around. I'm now attending college at UCF. Close enough to still see my parents, yet far enough away to still feel safe from the memories. I'm thinking I'll major in English. After all, I've got plenty of stories to tell. Especially the horror story that defined my life on that terrifying night in January. Sometimes, I do wonder if all these murders were the result of gang warfare. And honestly, I wish they were. In a twisted way, that'd be more comforting, more natural than what the fuck I witnessed. More comforting than the idea of the werewolf out there being used as an assassin. If the rampage was all just the work of gangs, I'd also feel better about my own predicament. You see, I know the events weren't just a dream or nightmare. Something happened, otherwise, there's no way I could have gotten these scratches on my neck. Scratches full of scars more vivid and everlasting than my emotional trauma. At least, the scratches only bother me when the full moon is out. Just some minor jolts of pain here and there. The only problem is I never can remember what happens on those long nights.